Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spin Rack. I'm here with my boy Cal. Say what's up, Cal.
Hey, we're ready to rock.
Hey, today we're going to be talking about the event of the spring that our man that DC has dropped. It is called House of Brainiac, and it is lighting up fires. Critics are loving it, fans are loving it. And so what happened? I brought our resident expert himself on all things Superman, the comic book hero himself, Calvin Ellis. Say what's up, man.
Hey, like I said, I'm here. We're ready to rock. House of Brainiac, baby.
So I want you to give us a little background on what the House of Brainiac is, and then go into what your thoughts are of it so far, sir. So,
All right. Well, bird's eye view. This story is set up for the absolute power event that's going to happen this summer. So this is more or less a prelude to all of that. But the story itself is it's a Brainiac story. So if you like Brainiac, great. What basically happens is that Brainiac decides to enlist some extra help in doing what he would normally do, which is to, compartmentalize, places of planets and then keep them for his own particular knowledge. However, what Brainiac, when he arrives this time, he's saying that he has acquired all the knowledge that is possible to acquire in the universe. He also shows up with a team of Zarnians, which of course is funny because Lobo supposedly is the last Zarnian, and they just start going ham on Metropolis. Before you know it, Brainiac has abducted a whole bunch of superpowered people, all from the Superman family, of course, and then he's off. So Superman's not going to take that. He goes and gets Brainiac, and he's after them, and we're off to the races.
wow. So, I mean, right, start off the rip. What is your take of this story so far? Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, so far it's been good. I mean, I've only been reading the Superman related stuff. There's some Green Lantern books that are also tied in, but not as strongly because the Green Lanterns right now there's Earth has like a quarantine, if you will, around it. So nobody gets in, nobody gets out, and that's been set up by the Green Lantern Corps. So that's their connection to the whole thing because of course Brainiac is a spacefaring villain. So how does he get past the quarantine? And then of course when he leaves, how is Superman and Lobo going to get after him? So that's where they tie in. But the Superman action comic books have been pretty good, and it's interesting because Action Comics was taking more of a Superman family bent in terms of how they were being structured. So it's Superman, Supergirl, Con- Connor Kent, who is Superboy. Then you have new Superman, Keenan Kong, uh, John John Kent. Whenever he decides to show up, everybody's there.
I can
Everybody's
see that.
there, and they're there most of the time. Plus, he's got like two kids who were rescued from a war world who are Kryptonian. So it's a much larger cast. And some readers were commenting, "Oh, we don't want to see this big cast. We don't want Superman family. I just come in here for Superman." Blah blah blah. House of Brainiac starts. Oh, we love it. This is great. So you just the fickleness I always find funny, but he's clicking on all cylinders, doing a lot of the stuff that the previous writer Philip Kennedy was doing. And again, like you said, it's been this has pretty much been high praise so far. The problem that they usually have is sticking the landing, and I'm not too sure how they're going to do that because this is supposed to tie into another series, so they can just leave it open and just let it roll into absolute power. But as of right now, yeah, this has been pretty good.
Well, I mean, I'm glad to hear that. So, um, is this what Brainiac is? Is this Brainiac 5, or is this a whole nother Brainiac that we're talking about from another
No, this is a whole,
universe?
no, this is a whole nother. This is a whole nother Brainiac. You can't even keep counting anymore.
Wow. I
I
mean,
stopped counting. I stopped counting after Brainiac 13.
yeah. So one of the things that was pretty interesting is I saw Power Girl. Is Power Girl considered part of the Superman family?
Yeah, yeah. She's the Supergirl of Earth too. And when they had Crisis on Infinite Earths and everything just became one Earth, she effectively was also on Earth One as Power Girl, and was fine because there wasn't any Supergirl because Kara Zor-El was killed in on Infinite Earths number 7, and so there effectively was no Supergirl, so she could stay as Power Girl, even though they rewrote her origin to be she was no longer Kryptonian, she was Atlantean, though that of course changed. But yes, long story short, she is part of the Superman family.
Okay. What do you think of these huge events where you have so many different tie-ins? Like you're saying, you're reading the main event, the main titles. But I mean, as I take a look right here, let me go to this League of Geeks page right now. I see I see tons of comics. We have Action Comic, we have Green Lantern 10, we have Superman 13, Power Girl, Superman House of Brainiac special. Like, why is there even a special? Isn't this what's kicking it off over here? Can you elaborate on some of this stuff?
I'll touch on the special in a second, but see, well, the problem with this goes back to Crisis on Infinite Earths, where Crisis was this very large event and it was going to touch in every single book. Now, for anybody who doesn't like that type of stuff, sorry to say, it worked. It sold very well, so they never stopped doing it.
Yeah.
So Crisis, touched in every book, and then of course Marvel looked and said, "Hey, we're going to do the same thing." So Secret Wars 2, that touched in every book. That touched in every book as well. Now, most of the guys complain because they don't want to spend the money, on all the extra books to get the story. But this is pretty. This is not too bad. If you're a Superman reader, you're really only being asked to pick up maybe one or two extra books a month if you want a whole story, and you can pretty much get the whole story without it. And if you're a Green Lantern or Power Girl reader, and you're not really interested in it, again, what happens in those books will still be very self-contained, meaning that you won't need to go pick up Superman books to enjoy what's going on there, and vice versa. So this isn't too bad. It's not one of those where you have to pick it up if you want to find out, what happened in between the last time you read Action and then go into Superman.
Okay, cool. I mean, as you can see here on League of Geeks page, they have a pretty healthy rating out of 769 readers. They give it an issue rating of 96. I mean, that's pretty strong overall. Um, in looking at this, I mean, I wouldn't have thought that we would have a Green Lantern connection to this whole situation, but it's pretty interesting that they do. I mean, like you said, they are blocking the entire world or quarantining the entire Earth.
Yeah. Well, I think the Green Lantern, because I'm not fully up on all the stuff that's going on with Green Lantern, but if I remember correctly, they've just finally come to the conclusion that, hey, all the problems for the universe seem to start with Earth, so nobody's getting off the planet. It's like, there's just too much. There's too much trouble. It's like every other planet has one Green Lantern. This planet has seven. It's like this is ridiculous. You guys aren't leaving.
Keep them locked down, huh?
Well,
They
even
think-
I mean, I'm trying to. So you got Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, John Stewart, Kyle Rayner, Jessica Cruz, and those are just the ones. I know there's one other guy. There's one other guy. Then you have Far Sector. I mean, there's at least. I mean, these are just the Earth Green Lanterns. There's at least seven of them,
It's a lot.
and not seven like there have been seven. Seven, like right now. Guy Gardner is around right now. He has a ring right now. So it's a lot of them. But they look at stuff like that and they're like, all the Earth, you guys are just trouble. No, you guys are staying on the planet. Nobody's getting off.
Hey, so, what's your take on the whole Lobo? Lobo was by himself, and now he has a whole city or world. Sarzanians are still there. What's your take on that whole
They
situation?
have to explain. They have to explain that. But that really came from out of nowhere. Lobo's pretty much been it, with the exception of his daughter Crush. And now, we see like at least a few hundred, Lobos, Zarnians running around. So they need to explain that because supposedly Brainiac had captured, it
So,
put Lobos, the Zarnians in a bottle city. But like, when did this happen? And I guess Lobo was totally unaware of it, which would be easy to say, like, oh yeah, we did it. Lobo didn't care. He was off planet or something of that nature. But that, the fact that I mean, Lobo him by his own self can be a lot to handle. And then you got like a good, 2,000-3,000 more of them. Yeah, that can be an issue.
yeah, but they're saying that this new general, what Shakal or something, that he is even more powerful than Lobo. I mean, he can take Superman's um, beams, and it doesn't cause him any issues.
I I don't know about that.
Okay.
Usually everybody gets like the first pass when it comes to Superman. So Superman, you come over, you hit him. Oh wow, look, I knocked Superman halfway across the planet. He's like, Superman's not usually the aggressor. So you come over, oh look, I withstood the heat vision. I was like, how hot do you think it was? You may have to turn it up a little bit, but no, I mean, oh, it sounds like one of those quotes we would get from what's that site again? Oh yeah, Screen Rant trash. Yeah, where these guys will come out and say, "Oh, look, we've just what, John Stewart is officially stronger than Superman. You're like, what? But it's all clickbait. When you read it, like this doesn't say anything.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, this is maybe a significant change to the whole character. I mean, I know when they brought in Crush, which I was like, what? Crush? I thought he was the only one, but now they have, I think his daughter's half human, I assume, and half Sarzan. Have- so I was like, okay, interesting. And of course, they try
You're
to.
telling me a human woman let Lobo touch her? That's a,
I know he's a nutcase, bro. It's a
let
straight
alone the
nut.
rest of the stuff.
So, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this, but it definitely is popular. People are definitely talking about it, and I'm glad that the super, I guess, what should we call it now? The super family has gotten their turn at bat. You know, probably this may be the sort of a beautiful um, relationship with the fans, where they're finally able to now see a super family like they have the Spider Mans and the I wouldn't say X Men because they're kind of crazy, or the Batman.
I don't know how the
Batman.
Spider-Man fit. I don't know how the Spider-Man fans are taking it. There's a bunch of those guys running around right now. I mean, they're like the Green Lantern Corps, just with Spider people. So I don't know how, if if you want to read Peter Parker, I'm not too sure how happy you are with Peter Parker always having like 6 or 7 other guys around. Like and vice versa. If you're just here for Spider, I mean, I grew up. Spider-Man was Peter Parker. Spider-Man is Peter Parker, Miles Morales. You got Spider Gwen, you got Silk. It's like, hey, this is supposed to just be, maybe 1 or 2 guys I could understand, but with the Superman family, the biggest thing is that a lot of the readers, to be quite honest, it's a little staid when it comes to Superman. So these guys, if they had their way, Superman would never leave Earth. He would just be, roaming around Metropolis with Lois Lane, Jimmy and Perry White, and that would be the end of it. And I'm like, that sounds like the Adventures of Superman, the George Reeves TV show. And they're like, yeah, yeah, that's what we want to see. And you're like, no, that no, you can't, you've done that already. You can definitely have aspects of that, but he's too dynamic a character just to be, in Metropolis all the time. But again, a lot of the readership has been here for a long time, and these are things that they want, look forward to. Which again, if it starts off, they're fine, but we shouldn't have 12 issues where once again, we're going to the Daily Planet to see what's going on, and then they also tilt the other way where it's almost like, hey, he has the best supporting cast in comics, and he has almost no relationship with Perry and Jimmy anymore. So you do want to try to work. You want to try to work that out. He shouldn't be off planet to the point that the only person that knows that has any idea what's going on is Lois Lane. But once he got married to Lois Lane, because they really worked to develop that relationship, a lot of the other ones fell by the wayside
Hmm.
because they're playing the whole, well, your wife is everything, right? You don't have friends anymore. So that's where they were with that. But the Superman family thing seems to bring more characters in. It's been very well balanced, and Superman's world needs to expand. It really doesn't need to be stayed, and it sure as heck doesn't need to contract. It needs to expand. He's a very big character, but DC has felt since '86 that he works best if we keep him as minimized as possible, and he was never meant to be that type of character. He's not a minimalist character.
Well, I mean, under Joshua Williamson's hand, it seems as though he's done a good job of bringing out Superman, right?
It's been you have to admit, Williamson, his run has been very well received. It's been reviewed very well, and the stories have been entertaining. The only thing that I will say is that I have no idea where this story is going. He's got some stuff going on with Lex Luthor. He brought in some new villains, and we're going on. I mean, it's been well over a year, even before House of Brainiac. So at this point, it's like I'm tuning in. It's this can't be the Bronze Age where okay, these are one and done stories because especially not the way you're setting them up. There's a hefty amount of subplot there, and it hasn't yet really borne any fruit. It's still been fun reading, but I'm always concerned about that because then it's like, okay, this is just like the guy uh, the trapeze artist, and he's up and he turns 1 2 3 4, and you're like, you can only spin so much before you got to come back down and make that connection. So I'm still waiting for the connection. It's fun watching him spin though.
I mean, look, I think they're doing a great job, and I mean, if everything works out, you never know. This can be a new event for the again the Superman family. I don't think that there has been something as well received as this, right? So
Recently,
No, I don't think.
DC Rebirth, DC Rebirth. That was probably the most recent thing that was very very well received and highly well received. A lot of guys were upset when Bendis came on and decided he was just going to do his own thing.
You gotta stop. We're not bending on Bendis. Okay, so this is not a.
We're not bending on Bendis.
We're
I
not.
don't know about that. You might want to clean that one up. You
We're
know,
not talking about Bendis.
take a pause on that one. You know, pause.
We're not talking about Bendis. This is Bendis has
Yes.
nothing.
We're not going to talk about how Bendis came on Superman and totally wrecked shop and ruined the series until finally he left out of all the dumb things he did. We're not going to talk about that at all.
We're not. You just said it all out. God dog it. All right. So I think this is a time for us to end. Is there anything else you want to add before we
If
step
you're
out?
not reading, see, if you're not reading it, read it. Okay, if you're not reading it, read it. Because I hear all you people out here complain, "Oh, Superman's boring. Superman this," but you don't read Superman comics. And then anytime I turn somebody on, they actually read it and they like it. They actually read it and they like it. So go out, read it. It's good stuff. Okay, I'm not saying that you're gonna fall in love with Superman or that you'll be a regular reader afterwards, but you do get to see the appeal of the character and why a lot of people, really enjoy his stories. So go out there and read it. It's good stuff.
Okay, well, if you like what you're hearing, give us a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Spinner Rack
Hey, we're out.
out.